introduce yourself and tell us how you started your career as a filmmaker and how you made it into the industry.
Alright, my name is Asurf Oluseyi. So I started off as a camera operator. I couldn't finish my university program, and then I had access to the cafe, the internet, and I realized that I can learn a lot of things online from Google, YouTube, and I started learning about camera works on YouTube and bought my first small camera and started filming ourselves. It was looking bad, but over time started looking better because I realized that I could learn how to operate camera online. I also started looking for other things that I can do around camera works that I can as well still learn online. And I came up with learning editing. So I learned editing, and within a year I could shoot and edit. I got a job from a company in Nigeria and as an editor. I realized the camera guy wasn't really doing so well, and I told my producer that I can actually shoot this. So they gave me access to start shooting. I became the cinematographer, the editor, and after a year I became the producer. And I was like the one-man band in the company creating content, and from there I used that opportunity to also meet independent content creators. So when I left, I started off my own company, and we were creating TV content, web content, and some commercials. And after like 2-3 years, I wanted to just take bigger challenges. It looks like what I've been doing is the same thing. So I wanted a new task, and I did my first shot in 2014, which was A Day with Death, and that won Best Short Film at AMVCA that year. And that was like the big push, like, okay, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to go into like a feature length. But because I didn't want to also just dabble into it, I decided to do few collaborations. So I did the two collaborations for like a year with other existing filmmakers that have been in Nollywood before me. So after like a year, I realized, okay, I think it's not bad to now make my own features, which I did we shot in 2016, which was Akunde. And Akunde tells the story of an unemployed graduate and the struggle into becoming successful in life.
What has this transformation in African cinema today, the arrival of big companies, the interest that African cinema is raising in the corporate world, what does it change to the life of filmmakers, namely in Nigeria? But in your point of view, is this an opportunity, or is this something that is affecting negatively your work?
So I'll say it's on the positive side. It's amazing that you do something, regardless of if it's film, it's cinema, or just any product, and people outside your world find it interesting enough to want to say, yo, what's that about? It means it's either you're doing something in the good direction, or you probably have a good product. And for us, cinema in Nigeria is still emerging, it's still evolving. It means it's a spot of encouragement for us to want to do better, because we've also consumed most foreign content. We've seen foreign cinemas, and there's still restriction around budgeting, financing. We're still a bit when it comes to funding, it's mostly self-funding. And when you watch foreign films, you can tell they spend a lot of money to make it. But regardless, we still try to want to do, at least with the little that you have or little that you can access, you still want to do something close to the outlook of what the foreign films looks like. So when you now get people that are already within that space trying to come to Africa or come to Nigeria to want to explore what we're creating with the little resources, it means, when we're on the right path, and the possibility is just massive, and we can't wait to turn around the narrative around Nollywood becoming the biggest export product from Nigeria, apart from oil. And so I'll say it's on the good side, both for filmmakers, for the industry itself. It's a motivation to just do better and see what the future holds for all of us.
And in terms of the way you write your films, like with this transformation, are you kind of pushed to write more having in mind like a foreign audience or still a Nigerian audience? How does it play?
So if I use myself as a case study, the first thing first, who are your audience? And I think beyond Nollywood, beyond the film industry, if we try to categorize our film as a product, it's who are your audience. If Nigerians can't buy my story, if Nigerians like can't really find my story interesting enough, I don't think anybody outside Nigeria probably would find it interesting enough. So our first audience in mind is always like the Nigerian market. And it's amazing because almost every Nigerian can be very dramatic. Like I used to say this, almost everybody in Nigeria is a storyteller. When you sit down with someone and ask them, how was your day, bro? They're going to they will dramatize how it has been. So that is in the DNA of almost every Nigerian, storytelling. So what we are now trying to do now is to tell more of our story, because we have so many untold stories, and we feel if we can get the attention of the world to us, I think it is an opportunity for us to recreate ourselves, retell our stories that we love to tell, and put these stories forward to the world, because those stories are what will represent us, and few things like how we are able to even solve our own problem using unconventional methods, from security to economics to politics, us creating independent solution that might not be so popular in the West, but is solving problems within our space.
How do you think Nollywood has transformed the image of Africa, let's say, over the past few years? It's been such a big story that has circulated, and it participated in changing the narrative about the continent, about Nigeria.
People. So before now, the most popular avenue to consume, to even understand the people from Africa, right, is either on documentaries, or the media, the West media, which is news. And if you study news very well, great news doesn't really make good news. So bad news are always like the best news. People want to show to their audience, to their consumers, what they feel like their audience would love to see. And if you check it globally, bad news sells, right? People want to see, to imagine. It's hard if you're coming from this side. It's hard to imagine that water is a big problem in some places. Like people don't really have access to good water, and that kind of narrative can easily sell from the West media than a successful case study of an individual in the community in Africa. It's doing something well. A lot of people doing something amazing across the world, right? So they might not prioritize in telling that kind of narrative. So this is an opportunity for us. The film industry has been able to do that, filling that gap by not only just showcasing us, but also portraying the amazing thing that is happening in Africa that the world really doesn't see. I'll use Nollywood for instance. It is very hard. Like some people don't believe that you can actually make a movie with little or no resources. Some people will still find it hard to believe that you can make a film with a small camera, like, and still take it to a cinema, right? But these are solutions that people have been able to create because there was no access to there's no big access to big camera, and they've been able to create product, tell stories with those small cameras. So it's going to be interesting to people outside Nigeria. So I believe for us, the film industry has been able to fill up that gap by showcasing more of the good side of Africa that the world doesn't get to see. if you go to Hollywood for today, if they're telling an African story, it's either a slave story, it's either a slave. Majority of them will be around slave story, and you can't question it because for film is a big capital intensive business, and for anybody creating it, they want to make it to make money as well. So you don't decide or you don't define what narrative they should tell, and that is why we should tell our story in our way. So whatever thing that is of pride to us, that the world is not seeing from the Western media in terms of news, at least the film industry can now fill up those spaces and showcase Africa to the world.